The best example of that is one of the Sahabi said, if I had to be a Muslim because of the people, I would never be a Muslim. And I learned that although, Islam has so many benefits, not every Muslim takes full advantage of those benefits in their daily life. So what I had to do was not become disappointed because of the behavior of Muslims that aren't practicing, but find out more for myself about the religion and increase my knowledge, increase my understanding so that I felt fulfilled, not from the people, but knowing that I'm pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's always contradictory in every society, in every religion. There are Christians that practice very committedly, and there are Christians that are just holiday Christians that come only on the high holidays. So I was used to that idea. Idealistically, I didn't expect that from the Muslims, but I oftentimes found that to be the case. That Muslims have different levels of commitment, and their practice also exhibits that. So it wasn't a shock for me, but there have been many times that I expect something and have been disappointed. But I know that Allah, Ghafur Rahim, in His mercy and His forgiveness, He will look at each person based on their individual actions. I really felt that through Islam, I gained so many things that Christianity didn't offer me. Really, the personal relationship with God, the idea that when I stand in Salah, that there's nobody there in front of me other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That my guide for living my daily life is that, will this please Allah or not? I don't have to be in fear of individuals or ideals, but only I have to be fearful of Allah. And that created a strength in me and a confidence as a human being that I'm able to live my life in the most decent way possible and still have a personality of values and character that's becoming to other individuals. The other thing is that we are a humanity, that there's no difference among the believers, not from Malaysia or Indonesia or from the Arab world or from America, except those that have knowledge and faith. And you can be the richest person in the world, or you could be the poorest person in the world, and Allah will judge you only on your individual actions. And so money doesn't count, status, family name, the country of your origin, but that we're all one humanity. Well, it appears to me that oftentimes the leadership in the Islamic world is lacking. By name, they're Muslims, but they don't necessarily follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had intended. So in their leadership process, they move away from Islam, and I understand their reasoning for doing that, but the true fact of the matter is that when they're claiming to be Muslims and they're not following what Islam teaches, they're creating inconsistencies. The other situation that we have is that although we have opportunities to make a good presence of Islam in countries that are not known to be Islamically based, we oftentimes make a mess of things. We don't present the proper face of Islam, often extremist in nature, and when people see extreme things, they tend to move away from it rather than be drawn to it. If we take a more moderate stance, meaning the leadership and the believers, if we're in the moderate mode, we'll find people very open to accept Islam and Islamic leadership. As Muslims come to America or places in the world other than their homelands, I find that everybody likes to support their nationalism. For instance, we'll find a group of Sudanese people sticking together and communicating with one another. Although they're Muslims, they're not incorporating themselves into the Muslim community. When we have this nationalistic view, we tend to fractionalize the ummah or the members of the Muslim community rather than draw it together. One of the beautiful things that happens here in Dallas every Eid is that we rent the convention center downtown, and a group of about 35 to 40,000 Muslims pray Salat al-Eid together. So what it does is it creates a sense of unity. Although we can't be together like that at every salah or every event, at least 2 times during the year we do get together, and you truly feel the strength and the magnitude of what the Muslim community can do. I think it's important for everybody to feel that they're part of their own community first and foremost, meaning it's okay to be nationalistic and be proud of your heritage, but you have to overcome that pride with what Islam teaches us, is that there is no difference although Allah commanded us to go to nations and tribes and expand the religion, it's good to respect that, but not let that take over and not leave the Islamic values for what's tradition and custom of the area that they're from. I've traveled to several Islamic countries, and I've found that the best thing about that is the accessibility of worship, and to hear the adhan called, just the mention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a regular basis is a blessing. You also have freedom of practice, the ability to go about living your Islamic life and worship in an open society where there is no fear of retribution because of that. That's certainly an advantage for every Muslim in this day and age. The deficiencies of the Muslim countries is oftentimes they tend to see only the problems that they have or the issues that they have in their local areas, and that would lead to a situation where they're more closed and they don't acknowledge the people, the Muslim communities around the world. If we did that and we gather around the Islamic identity and issues, we certainly would have the power of being numerous, and that would help in many ways. Well, if we look at the history of Islam and how it spread through the world, people like Ibn Battuta, Tariq ibn Ziyad, who opened up North Africa and moved into the Iberian Peninsula, these people were so effective in spreading Islam simply because of their good character and their manners. They were intelligent, they were articulate, they were able to deal with the people at their level, and they carried the message of Islam through what they did, not necessarily what they preached. So it's very important that as Muslims today, we exhibit those same behaviors. I find that oftentimes in America, when we have Muslim families that their children are in public school, the parents don't get involved in the public school as volunteers. This causes a gap. The teachers work with the students, but they don't see the adults. And it presents an issue where the parents are maybe fearful of being exposed for being Muslims or for not being accepted for who they are. And in a society like America, that couldn't be farther from the truth. People here are very accepting and very open to meeting new people and accepting new ideas. So we need to take advantage of that. For me, one of the most special times of the year is Ramadan. It really is a time for me to focus again on what it means to be a Muslim, to really put aside this world and live out our Islam in a way that purifies the body and the soul. Setting aside time to make extra prayers, attending the Taraweeh, reading Quran, oftentimes reading it, at least one time in Ramadan, perhaps some more. It's a chance to really block out the things that get in our way of creating a peacefulness in our own lives, and Ramadan really does that because you don't have much time for anything else. It's challenging as a teacher because the last few years we've been teaching and fasting, and so it gives us a greater appreciation for the time that we can make iftar and feel the relief that is guaranteed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
What about Hajj? Have you been in Hajj?
I have not made Hajj, but I've had the wonderful opportunity of going to Mecca for Umrah, and it was an experience that I would love to repeat again and again. I was very fortunate that I made my whole Umrah within a meter of the Kaaba, and every time I made the tawaf around the Kaaba, I got to touch the Rukn Yamani, and I actually got to touch the black stone, and to stand in the spot where Ibrahim and his son placed the stones to build this structure. It's just amazing to me. As people always said that when you make Umrah or Hajj, it really calls for you to come back, and indeed I feel that to be the case. As soon as I have the opportunity, inshallah, I will go back to Saudi Arabia and perform the Umrah again, and inshallah the Hajj soon. It's, for me, sometimes it's a point of sadness, because in the Salah, I reflect on all the things that I'm probably falling short of, the things that I haven't done, and I really open my heart for Allah and ask for His forgiveness during the Salah. This is the one time that I'm closest to Him. And it's the one time that I feel that I'm very much exposed, that Allah has at that moment, a window to my soul, and it's a very important part of my day. I'm always amazed at when I read Quran. Of course, I'm not proficient enough in Arabic to read it in Arabic. When I recite my prayers, I use the same surahs over and over again. But I'm counting on the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guarantees that each letter of Quran that I recite will be recorded for me. And inshallah, that will be for my benefit. But I found so many amazing things. I know that translating the Arabic into English is one of the most difficult things to do because of the richness of the Arabic language. But I find that there are so many possibilities and so many promises made in Quran that it's really amazing, and really does affect the soul. The more that you read and the more that you're affected by the words, you start to understand the wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is truly majestic, and it's a comfort. I think the most important thing is, as we are walking on this earth, that all Muslims are responsible for making da'wah, to really not preach Islam, but be good examples and follow the role of the Prophet, peace be upon him, in the act of living their Islam to its fullest, using it as a way to guide and encourage one another and others and bring them to Islam. And it's an incredible opportunity for each and every one of us to fulfill our Islamic obligation. Assalamu alaikum, and Ramadan Mubarak to all of you. Please join us for our Ramadan anytime you'd like. You're very welcome.
Dilersen zengin yaparsın,
ey yücelerin yücesi.
Yokluğuna düşürme,
Zalime muhtaç etme,
lütfeyle bizlere.
zenginlerin zengini.
Alanda veren de sensin,
Benim canım Allah'ım, El Mughni ismini çok seviyorum. Ey yücelerin yücesi, benim canım Allah'ım, El Mughni ismini çok seviyorum. Ey yücelerin yücesi, benim canım Allah'ım.
sana teslim şu kalbim.
Maneviyat zenginliği ver,
Unutma beni ne olur,
fakirim sensiz ben.
koru tüm çocukları.
Affı bol Allah'ım,
Alanda veren de sensin,
benim canım Allah'ım. El Mughni ismini çok seviyorum. Ey yücelerin yücesi, benim canım Allah'ım. El Mughni ismini çok seviyorum. Ey yücelerin yücesi, benim canım Allah'ım. El Mughni ismini çok seviyorum. Ey yücelerin yücesi, benim canım Allah'ım. El Mughni ismini çok seviyorum. Ey yücelerin yücesi, benim canım Allah'ım.